Trading as we know it will die. I give it another 20 years. The hell you talking about trading will die? That's my prediction of how you just reacted. But yeah, you heard me. Trading will die within 2 decades.
In 10 or 20 years, robots will be able to do every human job.
I wish I were wrong. Believe me, I really do, for I make a living of this and have for a long time. Unfortunately, I'm indeed certain it will die, and when I outline why, I'm sure it will make perfect sense to you. This entire episode is an extensive compilation of everything I've ever read on trading, the future of AIs, algorithms, machine learning, and the laws of human nature. I've simply taken vast amounts of data from each individual area and pieced them together into this simple yet bold claim of the dying markets. Here's what I think will happen. Trading will die in 2 steps. Firstly, trading as we know it today will fade away. It will bleed to death as it will gradually be replaced by AIs. The second death will be the ultimate one, when AIs will kill each other off as if it were a trader's nuclear war.
Rules? What rules? What did that come up?
And this won't just be the case for trading, you'll see it in many other fields too, perhaps even in your own industry.
How did I get in this taxi? The door opened. You got in?
Now, at the first death, as AIs get increasingly sophisticated, manual day trading and swing trading accomplished by human brains will cease to be profitable. AIs will gradually take over as they will start generating profits to their owners at the expense of you and I.
Excuse me, can I help you?
Starting with common office objects.
Hey, that's my stuff.
And when that day comes, we'll be better off playing bingo.
I've been playing bingo all my life.
But once all humans have gone, the AIs have no other choice but to start competing solely against each other.
I'm not a robot. I'm a unicorn.
But you said earlier that you were a robot.
I did not.
I thought you did.
You were mistaken. Which is odd, since memory shouldn't be a problem for you.
I've answered all your questions.
But as trading is and will always be a zero-sum game, and since any persistently losing AIs will eventually be shut down, the field will be steadily narrowed down towards one single AI. One.
Another one.
And since you can't trade against yourself, once the market goes from the last 2 AIs to the very last one, the trading markets will be dead. When I played poker professionally, the games online were still tough, although they were nothing in comparison to those of today. Naively, I was convinced that I would always have the option of making a living playing poker. I thought my life was set, that my skill level would always guarantee me a hefty income. A safety net to fall comfortably back on if any of my other endeavors were not to work out. Little did I know at the time that any skill-based activity with tons of money up for grabs quickly has its market gap covered. Not long after the big online poker boom of 2005, technical software emerged to assist ambitious players in their decisions. All of a sudden, players would gather data on both themselves and their opponents. Through readily chewed statistics, numbers and maths, players could improve on their own game whilst at the same time identifying weak spots in their opponents. A huge advantage.
Your new personal trainer.
Many of these inferences would be very hard or next to impossible to figure out without technical aids. The tools were cheap and they were golden, but they also kept improving the players' collective skill level. Soon enough, even the bad players were good.
Marathon shoots and he's in.
It didn't take long before any serious player would spend more time away from the tables than they actually would playing. Instead, they would dedicate hours on end running through vast quantities of numbers and graphs, analyzing themselves, their opponents and tricky key pots, and all in the name of improvement. In less than a decade, poker went from being far off the optimal gaming theory path to being pretty much figured out and exploited. Back in the mid-2000s, you could win thousands of dollars per month at the low-stakes tables, not because you necessarily played well, but because you sucked less than your opponents. The rapid transformation of poker is nothing unique, for it seems like every present-day field, whether professional, societal or competitive, has begun to get increasingly more complicated. And to reach the top and become one of the top 4%, you will need to put in exponentially more time and effort for each year ahead. Competitiveness at a never-before-seen level and technology bring our thinking to a whole new level, but they also drastically increase the gap between those who are followers and those who are non-followers. Take any underdeveloped country, for example. What chances do they stand at keeping up with the increasingly fast-paced, high-tech global economy of today? And how will they be equipped to compete next year when technology has rather increased the gap between them and the rest of the world by another decade? And just to be clear, I'm not taking a political stand, I'm just laying it out as it is. Make of it whatever you want. There is a consensus among researchers and scientists that humankind will soon be rendered obsolete and useless as technology will continue to usurp and dominate an increasing number of fields. That is, useless from a market competition point of view.
It's a tie that inflates so you can use it as a pillow.
For whatever we'll put our minds to tomorrow, there we go. Technology will do it faster, cheaper and more intelligently than we. The same goes for games and any field where money is involved. The stocks and equities market will certainly be no exception. Have you ever heard of AlphaGo? It's an AI that wiped the floors with the world's highest rated Go player. The young, poor Go prodigy Lee Sedol accepted an intense media-covered 5-game challenge, confident that a silly algorithm would be no match to his superior skills. Already after the first game, his confident smile was fully wiped off his face and replaced by utter despair. He looked like he'd seen a ghost. And maybe he had, for in reality he'd been beaten by dead matter. Apparently shaken and destroyed, he said in a mandatory press conference interview after the duels that as a professional Go player, I never want to play this kind of match again.
오늘 바둑은 그냥 내 영상으로 보자면 정말 완패였고요.
Computers have already mastered a multitude of games. To some extent they've even figured out Go, which is said to have more possible game combinations than there are atoms in the entire universe. That's counting conservatively. AIs and algorithms may be smart enough to figure out all the atoms of the universe, but so far the markets are too complex for them. The markets contain too many soft variables and components, non-measurable values based on psychology and herd mentalities. That's why no mathematical calculation, no matter how sophisticated, even if it were to be presented on the world news by God Almighty himself, can ever predict the markets accurately. That's because once tomorrow's market movements are figured out and many enough people follow the prediction, it stops working.
Yes, 2-all. Now everybody's happy.
This is the very nature of zero-sum games. Now, make yourself no illusions, for the time will come for AIs to dominate the markets. It's not a matter of if, but rather a matter of when. And once the dam bursts, their moves will quickly surpass that of our own intelligence, and everything they do will come across as utterly illogical to us. But it will not be done in the way you may think, for they will not use common maths to calculate the future because, as we've just established, they can't.
Ooh, 926 is 857,476.
Instead, they will use digital psychology to outsmart their opponents. First the humans, then other AIs. And to any human trader, competing with a strong AI trading algo will feel like getting run over by a freight train coming at you at the speed of sound. At this point, no human supplied capital of any relevance will go on the trading markets, for no one will ever dare to trade again. And even if algos were made illegal, you will still never know whether someone uses one or not. For wherever money is involved, there will be fraudsters and low moral opportunists. Banks and financial institutions already invest top dollars in trading algorithms. It's a race to the top where the winners stand to win insane amounts of money. But here's the thing, no matter how heavily the top 100 banks and trading institutions of the world will invest into developing their own trading algorithms, the situation will remain the same. The trading markets will still be a zero-sum game, and only the sharpest tip of the pyramid will make money at the expense of the remaining bulk. Hence, the 99th smartest and most advanced trading algorithm of the year 2035 would in theory slaughter any competition of today. But in the year 2035, it would get slaughtered beyond recognition by a handful of killer algos. With regards to future trading, that is trading in the future, not futures trading. I expect new techniques and theories to be applied, ones that are yet not invented. For trading will more and more turn into a game of poker where bluffing and leveling will become key parts of the game.
I am a human sitting in front of a machine using it.
Why are you lying to me?
Superior algorithms will deliberately give out misleading information to the markets. This data will in turn be picked up and acted upon by competing algorithms who will base trading decisions on false pretenses and lose money to the stronger AIs as a result. And in order to not be figured out, the strongest AIs will constantly mix up their game and strategy, perhaps even 1,000 or 1,000,000 times per second. Relating back to how poker quickly became sophisticatedly difficult due to software analyzing technology, a baby step compared to what's coming. The same will apply in the future of trading. Strong AIs will constantly assess and analyze their AI opponents.
Smiley Smith up next.
Particularly targeting and preying upon the inferior ones in order to exploit and profit from their weaknesses. The weaker AIs will try the same, but they'll fall prey to the stronger AIs who will outsmart them. And unless they shape up, weaker AIs will quickly be taken out of service one by one, whilst narrowing down the field towards one single participant. The strongest trader to have ever existed on Earth.
Can a robot turn a canvas into a beautiful masterpiece?
Can you?
Remember where you heard this very theory first. Welcome to the future of trading. Please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. It will take your trading knowledge to the next level and it helps the channel too. In the next episode we'll discuss technical analysis and whether it actually works or not. A much disputed subject.